Welcome to this webinar. We are going to talk today about NPrinting and actually how you can transform your analytics into flexible and dynamic reports. So the webinar is for you as a person who is actually using Qlik. So if you're using Qlik, be it Qlik Sense or Qlik View, well, actually here we're going to explain more into detail what a solution like NPrinting, which is actually adding up to what you have already with Qlik, how it will help you to actually do more on the matter of reporting, on distribution of reports, on formatting, on producing different types of contents. So if you have any question, there is a question window on the right. So when you're viewing the webinar on the right, you have a question pane in which you can ask your questions. So feel free to ask your questions there, and we will try to answer them at the end of the session as much as we can. You will also be able to send an email to us afterwards if you want to get more details or if you have some more specific questions. Feel free to contact us later on. So let's start first with this presentation. Good. So I will move to the presentation. Yes, just a second. Just trying to find back my presentation modes. Apologies for that. It should be somewhere on my screen. Just a second. There we are. Good. So the idea really is that, well, with Qlik Sense or Qlik View, you can actually build really powerful reports. These are reports that are dynamic, that are interactive. You can do a lot of things with it. For instance, you can make dashboards in which you can make a lot of selections so that the end user actually can drill down into the data. You have the ability to show KPIs on your screen that are based on alerts. So lots of things like that. Well, actually, this is really nice as soon as you are working interactively with the data. But if you look at the space of usage of business intelligence, well, actually, next to the interactive reporting, you also have other capabilities that are useful. And let me show you exactly what we mean by that. Well, basically, the first thing is that one of the things you can do with Qlik is actually to pull the data towards you as a user. So you are going to connect to a system, and you're going to get the data out of the system. So that's the first, I would say, usage that you can do of business intelligence is I'm going to a central system and I'm getting information out of it by pulling the data. Now, there is a way you can interact with the data. We call that interactive analytics, working with dashboards. There is another way you can interact with the data, which is more conversational. So different ways to interact with the data, but it's still on the pull side, so getting data out of the system. Now, what we want now to focus this in this webinar is actually more on the push side. So that means you are going to actually you're going to send the data towards the user instead of the user getting to fetch the data. And again, there are two aspects that you can that you can cover. One of it is the enterprise reporting. So that is sending out reports in a push mode to several people in several formats. The other one is about alerting, meaning that when something happens, when something goes wrong, then you want to send out an alert. And actually, Qlik has solutions for all of these things. So the first one, you know already, it's Qlik Sense. So it's the interactive dashboard. It goes on the web, it goes on a mobile device, and you can actually, by putting the data on your device, you can start to analyze the data, to drill down, to get more details, and actually to finally take the appropriate actions based on the analysis that you do. So that's really the dashboard part that you have with Qlik Sense. Now, next to that, you have the Qlik Insight bot, which allows you to actually have a discussion with the system. So conversational analytics, it's like chatting with someone. Well, actually, you have the ability to chat with Qlik Sense, and Qlik Sense will give you answers. So if you ask to Qlik Sense, what are my sales numbers, the chatbot will respond with the appropriate charts that you were requesting. And then you say, oh, and what about last year? It will give you information about last year. So it's more conversational way of navigating in the data, but it's still pull. So you're actually still getting data out of the system. What we are going to discuss now is about NPrinting. NPrinting is about pushing the data through reports so that people can view and can actually view the data when they need it, because they will only receive it when it is actually appropriate to view the data. So that's the NPrinting part. And then next to that, there is also a component that is called Qlik Alerting, which allows you to actually automatically send out an alert based on the data that you have in your Qlik Sense report. Now you will see that NPrinting has some alerting capabilities, and I will discuss that in detail later on. Qlik Alerting is really a dedicated alerting mechanism that actually brings you back to your Qlik Sense dashboard. So it will be based on the KPI elements that you define inside your Qlik Sense. It will be based on the master item, the measures, and so you will be able also to action specific dashboards on top of that. But of course, you also have alerting that is directly linked to reporting. One of the examples is that you only want to send out reports to someone when there is a problem. Only when something happens, I want to send out a report. So that capability you will find also directly in NPrinting. Good. So that's about our positioning now. So we are now focusing on the enterprise reporting part, on the NPrinting part. And actually, how does that work? Well, in fact, you already have a Qlik View or a Qlik Sense environment, or even both of them. And what you would like now is to make sure that the data that is inside Qlik Sense or inside Qlik View can be sent out to the actual persons, maybe people that even don't have access to Qlik Sense, so they don't need interactive access to Qlik Sense. So you have the ability to send it out to a broader audience. That would be one way of using Qlik NPrinting. The idea, of course, is that NPrinting is using exactly the same engine than Qlik Sense. So everything that you have built inside Qlik Sense, well, you will be able to send it out directly with NPrinting. And when I say Qlik Sense, I mean, of course, also Qlik View. So Qlik Sense and Qlik View, whatever content you have built, even in multiple reports, you will be able to send them out using NPrinting. So that's what NPrinting brings, something that is actually extending what you already have inside your reporting solution. And how is he going to do that? Well, actually, he's going to provide you three different actions that you can do with the data. First of all, you want to be able to create content, because NPrinting can provide additional content. Of course, it's based on the same data, but you might want to restructure it. For instance, you want to create a kind of summary report that gives information about several dashboards that you have created in Qlik Sense into one single document. So you're going to create a new layout, a new content that you want to distribute based on the same data that you already have in Qlik Sense, based on the same charts, tables, and definitions that you have created in Qlik Sense. Then once you created the content, you want to manage it. So you want to be able to actually organize it, automate it, make sure that they get updated. And then finally, you want to share it. So you want to send it out to specific people. You want to decide when you're going to send it out and who you're going to share it with and how you're going to share it, be it through an email or on a website or directly within Qlik Sense, because they could be Qlik Sense users. So you're going to organize also the sharing of the content. So these are the three important steps that you will find inside NPrinting. So let's first start with the creation. So what is important with NPrinting is that you have the choice of the format. So if you want to produce PDF files, well, you can do it with NPrinting. If you want to produce files that can later on still be edited, like a PowerPoint presentation, so you can automatically generate a PowerPoint presentation using NPrinting that afterwards someone can use to integrate slides in another presentation, for instance. You can also produce Excel files. So that's often used. We have a lot of customers that are actually using NPrinting to produce Excel files that they're going to send out to their partners, and their partners want to actually use those Excel files to integrate the data inside their reporting solutions. So Excel can be produced, of course, formatted Excel, but also a lot of different ways to format it. So that's Excel format. You can produce HTML. So if you want to integrate inside a website and you want to generate some visuals that are completely static, not to be mixed up with the mashup capability of Qlik Sense. The mashup capability of Qlik Sense is to integrate Qlik Sense visuals inside the website. The big difference between the HTML that is produced by NPrinting and the mashup is that a mashup is an interactive HTML. So actually it's more than HTML. It's a combining HTML with JavaScript and with interaction so that you can integrate objects from Qlik Sense, for instance, a chart on which you can still click, on which you can still filter, on which you can still drill down. So you keep the interactivity, but you integrate it in a website. While the HTML generation is completely static. It generates a chart as an image, and then it can post the image together with text, together with tables inside an HTML page. So that's the HTML generation. If you want to produce documents that, for instance, for documentation or for archiving purposes, you can also use Word document format, so that you have a document with a table of contents, with a lot of formatting, different chapters and things like that. And within those chapters, you want to integrate charts or tables or data that comes out of Qlik Sense and Qlik View. So that's also one of the things you can do. And finally, of course, you can also generate images. It's a bit similar to the HTML, with the difference that with images, you just generate a single image that you want to integrate into something else, into another application. So you see, you have a lot of different formats you can generate with NPrinting, and all of them will be defined in the creation state. So how are you going to create all these contents? Well, actually, you're going to connect to your Qlik Sense application. So you can have multiple Qlik Sense documents or Qlik Sense applications, as we say. And you're going to pick out of those applications specific visual, and you will drag and drop them inside an Office application. So you can use Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And actually, what you're going to do is you're going to combine Word, Excel, and PowerPoint with those content, and with drag and drop, you will add objects out of Qlik Sense or Qlik View into specific locations in your document. And once you have created your full layout, so with those multiple sources, you can generate high quality outputs, either in PDF or in the native format of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So this is how you're going to define the content. There is also a way to create what we call pixel perfect reports. That's a specific format that is not using Office as an editing mode, but really pure reporting interface. We see that most of our customers are actually more using Word and Excel and PowerPoint. And the reason is that an end user that needs to create a template, a power user that needs to create a template, will probably be more easy with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, because these are tools he knows. And so it will be very easy to maintain and to update. But you still have the pixel perfect capability, which is a more programming way of defining reports. All of this is supported and can be created as templates in NPrinting. Once you have created those templates, you want to manage them. So you want to organize them. You want to make sure that they can get automated, so that every day the reports are generated based on specific securities, specific filters, and so on. So for that, we're going to set up a platform, and that's what we call the NPrinting server. So once you create your template, you're going to deploy it on an NPrinting server. It's a web interface, completely web-based, in which you can organize your publications, on which you can define that you want to use that template and send it out to that user based on that publication. You want to automate it, you want to secure it, so you define integrated security based, for instance, on your Active Directory that you have. You can scale it so that you first install it on a small server, and then when you see if you want to produce thousands of reports every Monday morning, for instance, well, maybe you add some hardware. So you have a scalable solution in the same way as you have a scalable solution when you set up Qlik Sense. You can also control the access so that people can or not access. And you also define in the platform a distribution portal. It's called the newsstand. So in which you can actually define recipients so that people can actually go on the web and view all the reports that were sent to them. So you can, of course, get them through email, but also in this portal. And that brings us to the third element, which is the sharing. So actually, you can share through multiple channels. So that means we can send out the content through an email, of course, a personalized email, so that each person that receives the email gets a personalized content body of the email, but also will get only the data that is important for that specific user, or that is completely secured. So only the data he has access to. Each recipient will receive his own data, so that's the email distribution. You can also publish to corporate directories if you're using specific folders or a SharePoint environment. You can publish to a corporate folder. You can publish to the web through HTML or on a specific location on the web. You can publish to the newsstand portal. As I said, it's a dedicated portal that NPrinting users can use to view what has been distributed to them. And you can also provide a specific destination for each user, so that the user have a different destination where all their distributed reports are arriving. So it could be, for instance, also integrated in the Qlik Sense hub. So if it's a Qlik Sense user, there will be a zone inside Qlik Sense that they can use to view their reports. Of course, you can also schedule it so that it gets automatically sent out based, for instance, on an alert-based scheduling. Only send out the sales reports to the salespeople that are not meeting their target. The ones that meet their targets, they don't need to get spammed with those reports. But the ones that are not meeting their targets, I want to send out that report so that they can act on it. So that would be a way of working it. Also, another thing you can do is do it on demand. So for instance, allowing an end user to actually create his own report on the fly. So you have a predefined template, but in Qlik Sense interactively, you make several selections. I want to select that customer. I want to select that period. Then you click on a button, and as a result, you will get the report based on the selections you made inside Qlik Sense. So that's the on-demand capability. Now we'll showcase all these in the demo in a few minutes, but it's really important that you understand that NPrinting is not just a tool to send out emails. NPrinting is really an enterprise platform that actually connects to your Qlik Sense, that actually combines information from your Qlik Sense together into specific templates, which can be easily managed, centralized, and can be sent out through multiple channels to multiple users in all different kinds of ways. So that's what NPrinting is going to enable for you. Now, that's how we're going to send so that's what NPrinting is actually bringing to you as an added value. So what I propose is that we move to a demonstration. I think it will probably make a bit more sense to view the things you can do, and I will try to showcase all different kinds of visualization that you can get through NPrinting. So let me start with I would say the most common way to distribute NPrinting and printing content, and that is through an email. So what you see here I just received an email in Outlook. Okay, that's fine. And in this email, you see that this email has been sent out by, in this case, it's Agilos because it's our NPrinting Agilos server, but you can choose who is sending out the email. And it is completely personalized. So what does that mean? Well, actually, I get some explanation about what is happening. First of all, you have here the subject of the email that says, alert, your overdue customers raised by more than 20%. So I'm probably financial responsible for the follow-up of the customers. So I'm interested in overdue customers. And that's why I subscribed to this alert. And actually, NPrinting is sending it out because I'm interested in that type of information. But I'm only interested in that type of information when my overdue customers are above a certain limit. If everything is fine, if all the indicators are green, I don't want to be spammed by email. But when something happens and I can take an action, I want to receive this email. And that's what you get here. I receive an email, and in this email, which is personalized, so it's talking to me, okay, you receive this email because your overdue invoices has raised by more than 20% compared to last month, so there is an alert. I directly get some information about the data that is behind, and also I get some attachments. And in those attachments, for instance, I could have data that is in several formats and that give me more detailed about what is happening here. Now, if I open the attachment, I will see that there is a PDF file in which I have a split down of all our customers by country. So it has been automatically generated based on the data. So this is actually a PDF file, so it's a fixed format, but it's actually based on a PowerPoint template that has been generated, in which we defined that I want to see the breakdown of margin and orders by country. So we see the data for the different countries. It is personalized, so that means that, for instance, if I would be only responsible for one country, I would receive this file, but only with the slides. If I'm only responsible for the United States, for instance, I will only get the slide of United States. Here I'm a general manager, so I also see the other countries like Canada, Australia, and so on. I see the numbers, I can see charts, I can see details. This is the same detail as I had in my email, but here split down by the different countries. So I get a personalized document with data that is filtered based on my own needs. That's what I get here in my attachment. Now, of course, I'm a financial guy, so I would also be interested in data I can play with. Usually, a financial guy, when he plays with data, where does he go? He goes to Excel. So I'm going to open an Excel sheet, which is also an attachment. And in this Excel sheet, again, I get some numbers. I like numbers. I like number crushing. So now I receive the data. And again, of course, this data, I can work with it. So if I want to actually calculate, for instance, the sum, I want to say, okay, I want to have the sum of these numbers here that are inside my Excel. I can make my calculation, play with it, and so on. This is generated by Qlik Sense, pushed automatically towards an Excel file with some detailed format and an overview file, color coding, everything. So the fully formatted capabilities of Excel. But when I received it, it's not linked to the data anymore. So this allows me to take data out of Qlik Sense and to bring it to me as an end user so that I can play around with it. We have customers that are using this, for instance, to send out data towards their partners, towards their the people that are actually providing products for them. So that they want to see, for instance, we are selling your products, and you want to get an update about how well we are selling your products. So the customer is sending out their specific Excel sheets, but of course only for the products they are actually providing. Of course, they don't want to see the numbers of their competitors. So they're pushing that information through Excel so that the actual people can actually view the data. So that's what you have. You have an attachment. Now, if you want to interact more with that, well, you can actually you can have a link to the online report. So if I click here on the link, it will bring me back towards a list of reports. And if I will take it here, we call it Newsstand. So if I move it here, which is actually a web interface in which I will be able to see the same reports. So again, here, when I click here, I see, well, the report that was attached, I can see it here. But not only can I see it and visualize it here, but I also have the ability to look at the history of this report. So this could be one report that has been sent out, but maybe the report, I want to view the history, maybe this report has been sent several times. So I can navigate in the history and look at the report that was sent last week, of the week before. So it keeps all the reports that have been sent out, it keeps that into one place. That's the advantage of the history that you have here, is that you can really look into that, compare current situation with situation of last week, and start also to go back in time when needed. Of course, if you really have a need to make an analysis of the history and comparing things very easily, it's probably better to use a Qlik Sense dashboard and to have your history in a Qlik Sense dashboard, because there you can make selections, you can make calculations of current versus last week and so on. But if you have an archiving needing, I want to take a picture of a certain situation and I want to keep that as an archive that it will never change anymore, well, you can use NPrinting to keep a track of your history. So that's one of the things you can do inside this portal. Another thing, of course, is that you can yourself as an end user subscribe to these. So one of the things I could do is say, I want to create a specific subscription. And in this subscription, I want to select, for instance, a report. Well, let's take one that is very actual. I want to get my COVID dashboards every week to make sure that we are still safe. I'm going to define a format, and I want to get this report every week on the morning. So you're going to define myself how this report should be distributed to me. So this is what we call the subscription capability. Once I do this, well, that means that the next execution is I will receive this report on next Monday. So next Monday this report will be sent out. So this is a subscription mechanism that is directly integrated in this newsstand portal. So as an end user of the newsstand portal, I can automate myself and decide which report I should receive and which one I should not. Now we have customers that are actually using that, but that say, well, the sales report, we want to send it out, so the people cannot choose to send it out or not. So you have that ability to send out to people mandatory, so that they cannot choose their subscription, but for some other reports, they can choose themselves if they want to receive it or not. Other customers are saying, well, we send it out by default, and we give the possibility to the end user to unsubscribe if they don't want to receive it anymore. So that's also a way to make sure that people get the information, know that they can get the information because they receive it the first time, and then after that they can unsubscribe. So that's the capability that you find inside this portal. Now, another thing that you can do is that you can also integrate this capability directly inside Qlik Sense. So if we go to the Qlik Sense hub, and I'll show you the Qlik Sense hub interface. So here I'm connected to Qlik Sense. I have the ability to view reports interactively, but I also have a report section. So in this report section, I will get also the same thing as what you have in the newsstand. So all the reports that are sent out to the end user, but now directly integrated in Qlik Sense. Why would there be two different interfaces then? Why would you have this one and the newsstand? Well, actually, the reason is that you could have Qlik Sense users here that are actually receiving reports. So the easiest way for them is to get that inside their Qlik Sense hub. But you might also be sending out the data to people that are actually not using Qlik Sense. And the people that are not using Qlik Sense, well, they will still have the ability to access their reports online through the newsstand. And as a NPrinting manager, you will be able to organize this distribution. So you can say this report should be sent out to all the Qlik Sense users towards the Qlik Sense hub, and to all the external recipients to the newsstand. And maybe for some other user, they don't need online access, so you're just sending it through email and they're just accessing their email attachments. Or even for some other user, they're going to be sent to a specific folder inside their company portal, or just on a shared drive that is shared with other users. So you can directly organize all this yourself. So now that we are in the Qlik Sense hub, I'd like also to highlight another capability that you find in NPrinting, which is the NPrinting on demand. This answers another question that an end user can have, or another need that an end user can have, which is, okay, I create a customer report, but I want to, of course, we have 1,000 customers, so I don't want to receive 1,000 emails with 1,000 customer reports. But if I need that report, I want to be able to access it. So one of the things you can do is say, okay, you can create that report on demand when you need it, and only when you need it. And how does that work? Well, actually, it works directly from within Qlik Sense. So if I open a Qlik Sense application, well, in a Qlik Sense application, you have dashboards and visuals and things like that. So I will, within this Qlik Sense application, where is my mouse? I lost my mouse. There it is. So within this Qlik Sense application, I'm opening here one of the sheets. So I have here, for instance, let's take the global dashboards. Yeah, this one. So this is a dashboard. I apologize. It's a rather old Qlik Sense, so it's not very fancy, but it's a dashboard where you have graphs and tables and KPIs. And actually, I would like now to produce this information, but I'm interested. I'm doing some analysis first, and I'm interested only in France and maybe Germany. So we take two of them. You see that with Qlik Sense, as soon as you make selections, you see that the two countries are selected here on the top, and automatically everything that you see on the dashboard is going to follow your selections. So you're going to show what is associated with France and Germany. I see only the map of France and Germany. Also, I see only the numbers of France and Germany. I see only, maybe I'm interested only in a specific year, so I select a year. And what I see here on the screen is based on my selection. Now, the nice thing with NPrinting on demand is that NPrinting will take into account your selections. So that means you can make whatever selection you want in Qlik Sense. And you see here on the top right, you have a little button that is called Get Report. And this little button will actually directly link you with NPrinting. So if I click on this, I can automatically generate a quick report, and it's automatically refreshing my NPrinting template based on the selection that I made. So that means, for instance, in this case, I have a customer and analysis. So it's the quick report. It's the default report that we define. But because I selected France and Germany and a specific year, well, I will get to see this report but filtered on those specific countries and those specific years. And the only thing I need to do once it is there, it is to click. You see the little icon here. It's still waiting. It's generating this little icon. And when I click on this little icon, well, I have actually the ability to open this. In this case, by default, it's a PDF because I predefined that in the button that it should open this inside a PDF reader, and it should open somewhere on my screen. I don't know why I don't get it on the screen. Let me try it again. It should be here. Let me try it again. Yeah, you see it's actually generating the report, so that's why it's moving. Yeah, there it is. So we downloaded it now. Yeah, there we are. And it's actually opening the report, but only based to France and Germany. So before we saw a report, here you had a world map and you had all the different countries. Now I only have France and Germany, and I only have the map that is actually associated with my selection. So what I want to show you with that is simply that from within here, you can generate automatically any NPrinting report. And again, in this button, you can actually define, this was just a quick report, but if I want to create my own report, I click here on New Report, and I can select any template. If I want to have it in Excel, I select Excel. If I want to have it in Word, I select Word. So I can select other type of formats, and based on those formats, I have the ability automatically to generate. So for instance, here I want to see it in Excel X format, and automatically it will generate now the same data, but based on the Excel template, which is a completely different format than the one we had before. I don't know where it did open Excel. It's opening here on my other screen. It's the magic of working with two screens. There it is. So it generated an Excel sheet, but again, based on the selection that I did. So depending on what on the selection you make, you have these abilities to do the information, to get the information on demand. That's the on-demand capability. Now, next to the capabilities that you have in front end, of course, you might be interested, how are you going to set all this thing up? So now this was the end user part. Now we move to the power user part, and actually also the admin part. So Qlik NPrinting has a completely web-based interface. So I will take here, I will show you the interface. It is here. So you see, you have in NPrinting, you have an interface based on the web, completely web-based. And of course, based on the security, I will be able to manage different things. And what I'm going to find here, I'm going to find what we call NPrinting application. So an NPrinting application is actually an environment in which I'm going to define different templates. So you can organize your templates based on an application structure. The reason is that, for instance, you remember that I clicked on the button Generate Report. Well, on the button, I had a list of templates. Well, I don't want to have templates that are not relevant to my current report behind that button. So I want to be able to select a specific application. So you could have all the finance reports, all the HR reports, all the reports, the sales reports. So you're going to define different applications based on the context, on the topic on which you want to create content. So that's the application. Now, next to the application, you're going to define connections. So what are connections? Connections are actually a definition in which I'm going to link, to connect to an existing Qlik Sense or Qlik View report. So within an application, I'm going to define, okay, for my finance report, I will connect to the finance dashboards, the monthly dashboards, and I'm also going to connect to the daily report because I want to create content both based on the daily report and on the finance dashboard. So I'm going to define two connections. One is called the finance dashboard. The other one is called daily report, so that I can use these connections. These are actually reports I want to use inside my templates. And then the next, of course, I can also define how I'm going to filter the information. So I can predefine some filter, saying, for instance, for the finance reports, I always want to filter on the current year because I don't want to see history information. Or I want to create a filter, a dynamic filter that allows me to filter my finance reports by entity, so that each entity manager will only see his own entities. So you're going to define security based on filters. I want to define conditions, and one of the conditions, give you an example here. Well, when you don't reach your objective, I'm going to define a condition. The condition contains a rule, and the rule says, a specific variable that I will find inside my Qlik Sense report is smaller than a certain value, then I want this alert to be triggered. So actually, you're going to define your conditions and your filters based on the data that is in Qlik Sense. That's why you define your Qlik Sense connection, which defines which report I'm connecting, and then NPrinting will automatically take over everything that you get inside these reports, and so it will populate those drop downs that you see here, so that you can very easily define your conditions, your filters based on the data that is present inside the report. So that's all the thing that you're going to manage in there. Then once you have defined all these components, all these building blocks, I'm going to create reports. So reports is actually a template in which I'm going to be able to navigate. So for instance, if we take the PowerPoint report that we saw before, I'm going to define here that I'm going to connect to the connection that is called sales management and customer analysis. So it's a connection that actually get data out of a specific report, but I can combine multiple connections. And how do I define this? Well, you have an edit button here. If you click on the edit button, I will quickly show you how it looks like. Yeah, it's opening here on my other screen. There we are. So what does it open? It opens actually a PowerPoint presentation. In PowerPoint, you see that this screen here is exactly the same screen as what you're used to use in PowerPoint. You have the same with Excel, you have the same with Word. So it opens your familiar interface in which you can do all your formatting that you're doing, all your layouting, everything you want. But around this PowerPoint, you will have content that comes from Qlik Sense. So that means here, I can actually go to my Qlik Sense report, and I will find the different objects. For instance, I have a scorecard here with a KPI, and I'm going to drag and drop the scorecard directly inside here, my PowerPoint presentation. And by making this change here, by adding this object inside PowerPoint, you'll see it here, it will generate visuals like this, or it will allow you to generate predefined views. So this, when you do this, QlikSense will know, okay, this comes from my QlikSense and should be automatically generated based on the QlikSense. And you see here also that you can actually integrate fields directly inside the text of your PowerPoint. You have main KPIs. Margin is the margin object from QlikSense. Orders is the order object from QlikSense. And what is this margin and order object? Well, it's defined here. So here you have a QlikSense formula, which is opening again in my other screen. So you have a QlikSense formula in the way you're used to create QlikSense expressions. So you can create whatever calculations you want. It will be executed in QlikSense, and it will be calculated and shown here with the formatting you want. So again, you can make things completely dynamic by using the QlikSense engine to populate this PowerPoint. So this is the template you have. And if you remember well, I think it's still open. You have the generated PowerPoint presentation. It's there. Where is it? Trying to show you the actual results. There it is. Here we are. So you see, the margin is filled in with a specific margin. The orders is filled in with specific orders. The country here is United States. You see here, it's the field's country that is used here. And here I define one single page that says details for country. But in my PowerPoint, it's going to generate automatically multiple pages so that you have one page for each country. And the numbers, of course, are filtered each time on the specific country. So this is how you create a template. You define it in PowerPoint, you make the link with QlikSense, and it automatically generates. You can do a preview from here so that you see the direct result. So if you do a preview, it will generate the PowerPoint automatically so that you can view, is it really generating multiple pages by country, didn't make an error in the formula, and things like that. So you have the full capabilities using this NPrinting designer. So typically the NPrinting designer is something that is used by power users to create the templates. And then most of your users, for instance, interactive users, will use this on-demand button and just select an existing template. So depending on the user role, you will be able to organize all this in different ways. So once you have defined all these templates, so I can define one in PowerPoint, one in Excel, and so on. Once I have defined that, I can create my publication. And the publication task, here you see the publication task. Well, actually, in the publication task, I'm going to define, okay, I want to send out this template, and it could be more than one. I want to define a PowerPoint, an Excel, and so on. I want to send it through an email message. So you can define your email message, how it's going to be structured. You can define a destination saying that I want to send it to email to specific people. I want to send it within the QlikSense hub to other people. I want to send it to a specific distribution folder. I want to send it, here the newsstand. So you can yourself define how you're going to distribute it. And this can be based on users, on a user base, so a recipient base, or on group. So I want to send it out to all the consumers. If you send it to a group, each person of the group will get the report based on the security that has been defined. So if you have a group of sales manager, you can send the sales report to the group of sales manager, and each sales manager will receive the report for his customers and not for the customers of the other sales managers. So you see, this is a way to actually organize that completely web-based. I can add some additional conditions. So if I want to specify conditions, I can add a condition directly here myself. I want this condition, l'objectif n'est pas atteint, to be true. And of course, the way this condition is defined, how it's going to link to the application, remember, was defined here in the condition definition. So you see, everything can be managed within the web interface. And once you've defined all this, you can do the follow-up. So you have the administrative section in which you can look and say, okay, I want to see all my task executions. How are they running? Were they completed? Should I rerun them? So you also have the tool to manage all this and if needed to check if something went wrong, to rerun it. So you have the operational interface within here, you have the creation interface, the management of the publication. Everything is fully web-based. The only thing that requires a client is you remember I showed you a screen in which you're going to edit template. Well, obviously, if you want to encapsulate a Word or an Excel or a PowerPoint component inside this template, you will need to have Word, Excel, and PowerPoint installed for this to work. So it's the same for the NPrinting, the part that you see around this. You need to have an installation to be able to do that. But the installation, once you have installed it, it will directly communicate with the NPrinting server, and you will be able to open this directly from within the reports screen. So if I click here and I click on create report, well, I will be able to define a report, and once the report is defined, to directly edit the report based on this screen. So you start always from the web, you manage it from the web, and you define your templates from the NPrinting designer that you just saw before. Good. If we go back to the presentation where we were, here we are. So I show you that you could define contents through PowerPoint, through Word, with formatted content. I'm not sure I show you actually how a Word content looks like. Just quickly to go back here to the examples that we had in, I think it was on the web here. I think I have an example here on the newsstand. Let me see if I have here. I have an example of a Word. Oh, I don't have it here. Let me see if I can show you a Word example. I used to have one. Maybe I should have it somewhere here. Let me check. Let's check Word document. No, this one is Excel. Yeah, here's an example. Very simple example of a Word document. So it generates a table of contents. You can add charts in there. And then within the table of contents, I can add some text. I can add some numbers that you see here. So these numbers can be generated automatically based on Qlik. I can base things here so here I define it based on the data so that it creates a different section for each of the different components. So you see, based on that, you can really create a document in the format that you want, in this case, based on Word. So possibility to create data, formatted data based on Word. Of course, also generating Excel spreadsheets with multiple tabs, based on those tabs with multiple layouts. So these are things that you can create using NPrinting. And the last one is pixel perfect. I didn't focus much on that because to create those reports, it's a bit more cumbersome because you need actually to program the report. You have a reporting tool with sections and subsections, so you can also with drag and drop create that. But you will have less easiness of maintaining that because you will need to learn that specific reporting tool to work with it. But it's still possible. It's what we call pixel perfect reporting. We have customers that are using that, for instance, to generate invoices. If you want to generate invoices, of course, you could do a layout in Word. But if you want really to do a specific layout, well, then Pixel Perfect would also be a way of using it. Another example here is if you want to create, this is for banks, if you want to create a fund one pager, well, the one pager needs to be really nice layout with everything on top of it. And it's more difficult to do that in Word, so they're actually using Pixel Perfect to program the complete report. And once it's created, of course, you can use it dynamically. So that's the type of usage you will find. How is it going to set up more technically? I don't think it's the purpose here to go into detail, but one of the things, of course, that is important if you are interested in this and if you want to push it to understand how it is working, well, feel free to contact us. because we can work with a specific server. So it's a server that will be placed next to Qlik Sense, or we can work with multiple servers so that you have multiple engines, so that you have a fully scalable architecture. So if you're interested in the architecture part, feel free to contact us, and we can dig into that that further information. So these parts, I don't think it's the purpose here to go into details, but these are the things that you can that we can discuss in a later session if you are interested. Now, if you want to actually know more, or if you have some more specific question, I will type here my email address. So you can connect to me using this email address, jfd@agilos.com. If you have a more general question, of course, you can also just contact Agilos by going on our website. So I invite you to have a look there. You will find also other contents that might be interesting for you, and also maybe some other webinars that we are actually organizing. So feel free to contact us for that. Now I'm looking at the questions that were asked in the session. So looking at the questions. I see that someone raised a hand. Colin, I don't know if you want to talk. I can unmute you.
So, yeah, okay. I've got quite a few questions. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good. Great, that's great. We have an issue where we have very, very limited email space. We're using a very, very old version of Lotus. Okay, so I don't want to send out PDFs. I want to send out the links to either PDFs or Excel spreadsheets. Is that possible?
Yes. So as you have seen in the email, there are two ways to actually send it out. So I can send it here as an attachment, but I can also send it to a link. So if I just don't put an attachment, but I put a link, well, actually you will have a link directly to the shared content and to the PDF that has been generated. So yes, that is possible.
Okay. Can I go through the rest of the questions? I've only got 4.
Yes.
Okay. You said that if you're using Word, PowerPoint, or Excel, it needs to be installed. Now, does it have to be installed on the NPrinting server, or does it have to be installed on the local users who will be using it?
Just to be sure to understand what you mean. So what are you asking for installation? The client?
Well, if you're sending, you're saying you're developing these templates for Word.
Yes.
And all the rest of it. Where does Excel and Word or the MS Office suite, where does that have to be installed? Does that have to be installed on the NPrinting server?
Yes, no, it needs to be installed on the client. So you're going to install an NPrinting client together with an Office client. And once you have that, but only installed to the person who needs to define or create a template, of course. Or the ones that receive the template won't need it.
Right. The other question is, we use LibreOffice. Do you only have compatibility for MS Office, or do you have any compatibility for LibreOffice as well?
No, I think it's only for Microsoft Office currently. I can check that out, but I'm pretty sure it is only the Microsoft the Microsoft suite that we are supporting.
Okay, and my final question is, assuming we have NPrinting installed, you've currently installed for us a development server and a production server. If we get, are we able to install NPrinting on those same 2 servers because they're physical machines, or would we have to install 2 separate machines for the NPrinting server?
I would recommend to use separate machines. The reason is that we don't want the NPrinting execution to impact the actually interactive usage of Qlik Sense. So good practice is to install it on a separate server, and it's also what is recommended by Qlik themselves. So I would use a dedicated machine.
Do they have to be as powerful as the Qlik Sense machines? I mean, we've got 2 Windows servers, 192 gig each.
No, they don't. They don't need to be as powerful, because the actual Qlik Sense processing will still happen on the Qlik Sense server, but the generation of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint can be quite intensive. So there are some recommendations about the sizing that you should normally find on the Qlik websites. And if you don't find it, feel free to contact us so that we can guide you towards the appropriate sizing requirements for NPrinting.
Okay, that's brilliant. Great. Thank you very much for the presentation. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Yes, thanks. Is there anyone else that has questions? Because we didn't receive written questions, but if you want to ask a question, just raise your hand. I think you can raise a hand with a little button on your application. So I'll wait a few seconds if there are hands raised. Okay, I see that nobody's raising hands, but I get things inside my questions. But the things that I get is that everything is fine and that there are no further questions. So I think we have been quite complete in this webinar anyway. So you have a big overview of the capabilities that you have with NPrinting. If you have questions that are specific to your environment or to your needs, well, feel free to just drop me an email. So jfd@agilos.com is the easiest one, and I will make sure that you get the appropriate answer to your question. So thank you very much. This will end then this webinar. I thank you for your attendance, and well, just feel free to drop by if you have other questions or to go to have a look at our website. Thank you very much, everyone.